Every single morning when a Jewish person starts their day, one of the things that we're supposed to do is to say a brocha over the mitzvah of studying Torah. In fact, we say more than one brocha, but the point is that we bless Hashem for the opportunity that we have to be able to study Torah on a daily basis. Now, like every other mitzvah, as soon as you say the brocha, you're immediately supposed to do the mitzvah for which you said the brocha. So no sooner do we say the brocha over learning Torah, we immediately begin to learn passages of the Torah every single morning. First, we read a few lines out of the scriptures, and then we learn a little bit of the oral Torah. The specific lines that we read out of the scriptures are what is called birkas kohanim, the special blessing that the kohanim would give to the Jewish people traditionally throughout history. On a Yom Tov, for example, they get up in the front of the shul and they bless us. And the truth is that it's a blessing that is conveyed on special occasions and even from parents to their children. Now, brocha, blessing, the Hebrew word brocha, is associated with the word brecha, which is a reservoir. So the indication of a brocha means that the person has already been allocated resources. The reservoir is already full, but for one reason or another, they find it impossible to open the reservoir. So the purpose of the brocha is that somebody else who is perhaps more powerful, more spiritual than they are, assists them in gaining access to the reservoir of resources that Hashem has already allocated for the person. The word brocha, incidentally, is also associated with a Hebrew word which means to bring down. So, for example, when you take camels to drink and they get down on their knees, that's called vayavreich, from the same word as brocha. So you come down from a higher to a lower level. And that's the purpose of a brocha, is that a spiritually powerful person will assist to access that reservoir of resources which are at a higher spiritual plane and bring it down into the reality of our lives. The great thing about a brocha then is that it's guaranteed, because the reservoir is already there. The person who's giving the brocha is powerful enough to be able to extend the brocha to you, so it's guaranteed that it's going to happen. However, there are circumstances where the person does not have the reservoir. Hashem has not allocated the requisite health or finance or peace of mind, nachas, whatever the particular thing is that a person needs. They actually don't have the reservoir. That's where tefillah, that's where prayer comes in. So prayer often uses the expression, Yehi Ratzon, may it be your will, Hashem. That almost indicates that currently it's not your will. Currently it's not something that you've decided for this particular person. So we petition Hashem to reach a higher spiritual plane, beyond the reservoir, the source from which the reservoirs are filled, and please from that extend some kind of a flow of brocha, a flow of goodness to us. So the greatness of prayer is that potentially it allows us to access what is not already there, what has not already been allocated for us. The downside is there are no guarantees at all, and that's why often people feel that I pray and I don't necessarily get a response. So brocha has the advantage of pretty much a guaranteed flow. If the person gives you a brocha, it means they've accessed your reservoir and now the flow will happen. The downside of the brocha is that it's only if the resources exist. The upside of prayer is that it reaches beyond your existing resources and causes Hashem to allocate you new resources. The downside of prayer is that it's not guaranteed. At the beginning of our day, we invoke the prayer, the blessing of the kohanim, which actually has both advantages. The kohanim are given a gift by Hashem, where if they bless us, and when they bless us, and by extension, when we invoke the blessing of the kohanim, what happens then is it is a brocha, it is guaranteed, as a brocha is always guaranteed to come true when it's given by a pious individual, but it's the kind of brocha that even reaches beyond our resources. The Kohen is given a special gift to bless us to be able to have things that we don't even necessarily deserve or have the resources for. And that's why we start our day every morning by invoking the Kohen's brocha. Before we begin to pray, before we ask Hashem for anything, we want to develop this theme to say, even when we're going to reach places or try to reach places that are beyond what Hashem has already allocated for us, please Hashem, will you ensure that it's an easy flow and an easy gain of access as if it was a brocha directly from the Kohanim. And please God, we have the most magnificent brochas in our lives every single day.